Gemini.
Happy New Year, Geminis, and we're going to look at your forecast for January 2013. And we're starting out here on a very good note, I would say. You're the lucky ones of the zodiac because you have Jupiter in your first house. So that is everything which is abundant and where you're going to be expanding and really finding a lot of beautiful growth this month. And throughout the next coming months, you will still be having it. You got a little taste of this last year in 2012 when Jupiter entered your sign, and then suddenly it just vanished from the scene when it went retrograde. But it's coming back at the end of the month, probably their 29th or 30th, I believe, and you'll start seeing a big bump take place by then. But we're going to get back to that. But having Jupiter in your first house, even though if it's retrograde, it's still good because it's bringing all this optimism and joviality and self-expression. It's the first house of who you are. And so you'll probably notice that things are really growing in your life. And watch out though, because it could also be your weight that will be growing. We like to eat, you know, and be very abundant in our ways of food too when Jupiter is present there. However, though, it also brings people into your life that are very, in general, optimistic, and you are, by nature, a person who is a communicator, just by being Gemini and having Mercury as your ruler. So having Jupiter there is probably a growing need to reach out further to foreign countries, people, places, and whatnot. And Jupiter is also what you believe. It's faith, it's spirituality, and digging in a little higher to these realms here. And so you might find yourself starting to become more so, shall I say, curious in the fields of metaphysics too. We have nearly a full packed house here of a lot of planets taking place there in your 8th house this month. We have the Sun and the Moon and Mercury and Pluto in there, and it will be joined by Venus a little bit later. So what is the 8th house? It is the house of debts. So you might be focusing a little bit more over the coming month on how maybe to reduce your debts or to merge certain loans together and make it one package, which Jupiter will help you with, because that will free up other funds for you. If you consolidate, there would probably, you know, need some little extra attention on taxes and royalties and commissions and so forth. Whatever deals you're making right now may be coming into the scene and into the focus that much more. So there's definitely I would say it's a good thing. For some of you, though, it could be a little stressful, but it's okay. It's a passing phase. So it's not all bad. Venus starts out there in Sagittarius in your 7th house of relationships, which January is going to be a great month, especially that first half of it when Venus is found there in Sagittarius. And your 7th house is meeting people who are very open-minded and friendly and not just communicative. They're sharing, and they're seekers, they're adventurers. So you can expect to have a lot of nice adventures this month if you put yourself out there. You gotta get out of the house. So second part of the month, Venus will join the crowd there in the 8th house. So once again, we'll be looking to financial aspects in your horoscope there. It is in Capricorn, so if you're looking for wanting to change anything there as far as getting ahead, it might be a time to talk about a raise or a possible raise, since they are the holders of your paycheck, so to speak. That could be a good time to do that. It's also a good time for deeper emotional bonding, which is the house of Scorpio. So that's always a lot of passion and intensity. So you can feel that that will be your experience of it. Mars is in your ninth house there. So the ninth house, you're going to be focusing on expanding your mind, because it's an Aquarius, and that's a Uranian factor. So Uranus tends to like to think outside of the box. So you might find yourself being drawn to other realms, so to speak, or technology, or anything that has to do with communication over the wires. It could be over the internet. Maybe you're looking to create some new projects or tubes or blogs, or communicating with different groups. You might be tying up or hooking up with some humanitarian groups, maybe too. It's going to be interesting. This you have this every 2 years. You'll have this process, this transit, and it's an adventure for you. That Aquarian energy is all about this new time and age that we live in. So how can you improve it? What can you do? Do you work with software? Do you work with anything? Apps, for example, or new websites might be the deal. It may be you looking into certain ways to find your new paths to higher consciousness. Maybe you're going to go out there and find a mantra that works for you. So whatever that is, I see you using a lot of time here on pushing ahead in those fields, because the changes that are there, since it's a Uranian house, Uranus will always come with some extra unexpected situations, and it might just pop it on you, you know. And if we look to your career house, you have Neptune there, so there might be a little confusion. This started last year with you. It's like, where am I heading? What am I doing? You know, whatever you worked with in the past probably was really good, and you seem to like to follow a path of creativity and freedom, in that you have Pisces there on your midheaven, 10th house. And now that Neptune has entered there, and it's currently now at 0 degrees. Last year it went in, so everybody, any Geminis there, first part of the sign, might have felt that. All of you have felt something, but especially those in that first week might have felt that the old was dissolving. And when that happens, we tend to get disoriented, and it's like, where are we heading? So now it's been retrograde and it's moving forward again, and now it's going to move into that 10th house. It's going to be there for a few years, okay? So if you're feeling disoriented right now, don't sweat it, just roll with it. Be water. That's what Neptune is. You know how water flows? It knows its direction. It will, the rivers will always find the path to the ocean. So this is what you want to be. The more fluid you can become, the easier it is if you try to press things in out of anxiety, especially because you have the 8th house of your finances right now under target, which might be creeping some of you out. It's like you have to have some security coming in. You have to have that paycheck. And here's Neptune just dissolving everything in the career house. Sure, that's scary. You know, we are human beings having a human experience. But you know what? This is the universe. It's opening up doors for you. This is something, the dreams that you've had for the longest time, where you've said, oh, maybe one day when I retire, or maybe one day when I have the extra time for it. You know what? That time is right now. Doesn't matter what age you are. Listen to your dreams. Pay attention to them. What do you want to create? Now, if family or society said, well, you can't make a living in that, you know, that's a dreamy thing, you know, that's just a hobby thing, think twice. This Neptune has knocked on your 10th door, saying it's time to dream. It's time to bring those visions into manifestation. It's time to listen to your inspiration. And you, Gemini, you have the gift of gab, as I'd like to say. You know how to communicate. You know how to bring it out and make people listen to you. Especially now this year, while you have Jupiter in your first house, of how you relate, how you come across to people. You may have a fantastic ability right now to to talk to the right people that can make some of these dreams come true for you. So don't hold back. Yes, it is taking a leap of faith. Neptune is faith. It's great to have faith. It's okay to have faith when you know where you're going. It's harder to have faith when you, all you see is like doors maybe shutting on you. But even that, laugh towards that illusion, okay? Because that's all it is. It's scary for now, but then boom, when those doors open, you are going to do the magic dance and the magic walk towards those goals. I see a lot of, we spoke a little bit about humanitarian aspects. A lot of you will find yourself being more and more so drawn to be of help and assistance for those people that's been going through disaster. We've had Sandy and Katrina, and we have Japan, and we got these severe weather patterns, and they're not going to stop yet. We're definitely going to be seeing more of those over the next 2 to 3 years while Pluto is square Uranus. Now, they talk about global warming and that being the reason, and sure, that can be a part of the reason, but it's not the full reason. Uranus rules wind and the air, and Pluto is these dynamic, powerful, encompassing forces. So put the two together, what are we going to get? Yes, we are going to get more hurricanes. There is going to be more disaster. And since some of you, a lot of you Geminis, are communicators, news reporters, newscasters, podcasters, and so forth, some of you, maybe even storm chasers out there, some of your attention might be focused on this over these next few years, and this may be a part of the vision that you have. This is only one scenario, but it's a strong scenario. Why? Because you can go out there and report what is taking place here on Mother Earth. You will be reporting about the people and places, maybe blogs and interviews with survivors, how they survived, and making which I say new formats so other people can prepare over the coming times. And it gets you out and about. That may be a part of your travel. Having Jupiter in the first house will definitely indicate some travel as well. And you have Uranus in your 11th house for networking and social groups and organizations and humanitarian. Once again, this is third time humanitarian is showing up in your chart. And you know, they're long-lasting aspects. It's not just this month or next year. You're going to have this for several years ahead. So you might as well just tune in. The sooner the better you'll get up and going and being ahead of the crowd. Uranus networking with social groups and organizations, that could be not necessarily just like Red Cross. It could be starting groups, starting meetup groups for survivors in disaster areas. For example, you know, doing a good deed there and volunteering. I see that you've already started networking with new people, and you'll find that there's a lot of more new people coming into your life as opposed to where you were a few years ago. Suddenly you're attracted to a new way of thinking, okay? And how can you implement maybe technology into that? How can you be the initiator? Uranus is in Aries, and that's the entrepreneurs. You have this in the 11th house, meaning that you probably will be the entrepreneur. You will be the leader to lead on groups of people in times to come. And you're just starting off right now, scraping the surface on this. So I'm really excited to see what you Geminis are going to do. Not just now, but in times to come. You're just laying the foundation right now. Saturn is in your 6th house here, and that has everything to do with health and staying fit and feeling limitations on certain habits maybe that it was okay for a while, you know, suited you. But Saturn's saying it's time to let go of a few of those. It's really stripping down and looking at what will behoove you and how can you build your energy, because you're going to need your energy in very busy times ahead. So listen to that intuition. You might be able to find a lot of good, not just supporters, but trainers that can help steer you into this new course. The only fear is you can become maybe a little fanatic about your health too, and your diets. You know, it's like Scorpio there can create very strong symbiosis in what you believe in. But you know what? It's all a good thing. Maybe you need that right now. Okay, Gemini, we're going to look at a few dates for you here quickly at the end that you might want to pay attention to. The Mercury conjunct Pluto. This will be in your 8th house, so Mercury, communication and people in power in the 8th house. So you might want to either talk to somebody who has credit lending. If you're applying for a loan, that's the day to do it. If you need to have some kind of communication or meeting with your boss, that could be it. It could be documents to be signed that can be powerful for you. So that's January 6th. But I see it kind of securing itself though, because Saturn is there as well, giving it a beautiful support. And both Saturn and Pluto right now, they're in mutual reception, meaning they're occupying each other's sign, so to speak. And so that is all for you, for the better, for the good. They're January 6th. A little stressed out maybe there the day after on the 7th, so take some time to rest because you're going to be busy the rest of the month. The 9th and 10th, Venus is going to meet with Neptune, so very nice for a romantic evening with your other, or to meet somebody new. And definitely if you're meeting somebody new, I see that there could also be that spiritual dimension, that spiritual communication and sense of contact between you. So very idealistic day to meet somebody. And then we have the new moon on the 11th, which is the time to sow new seeds. So you want to kind of think ahead, how do you want this whole month into February look like? You know, so make the most of it, and try to put all those ideas on a vision board, for example. It's a good thing to do. And you'll already start seeing some of them harvesting there towards the full moon at the end of the month. We have a little day to be careful, wary of. It's on the 12th. There might be a little misunderstanding. It could be within realms of partnership. Venus there is squaring Uranus, so you guys might have an unexpected situation flare up. You might have to discuss something that you may not be seeing totally eye to eye, and you just want to kind of let go. But it's a fast-moving phase, though. It's not something that dramatic that's going to stick around. So if you can just lay low on that day and try to avoid any kind of deeper discussions, maybe just for a day or two, that would be the best, and you will harvest the best. Next date I want to mention is January 16th. This is where Venus is going to conjunct Pluto. That is a powerhouse, okay? So Venus rules money and values and love, of course. So if we're looking at a love relationship, it's very intense. The energies are really going and you guys can bond. It's like getting under each other's skin, which is good. Looking to the 8th house, which is also a sexual house, so those energies definitely are going to be present. But it's also the house of taxes and returns and commissions and royalties and whatnot, so you might see something really good come to the surface. So if you were applying for a loan a little earlier in the month, for example, this will be the day probably you're going to get some response for it, and that should be good. Should be good. It's definitely going to be breaking you away from whatever restrictions you've had here in the past, this last year. So cutting through. Then the sun is moving into Aquarius there on the 19th. That will be moving into your 9th house. So from the 19th throughout the rest of the month, you may be moving into a phase where you might want to start studying or deepening into some subjects that are interesting to you. Once again, it's hope and faith and belief and religion and foreign people and places and traveling. You might be traveling some more from the 19th onwards throughout this month. At the end here, I do want to mention that we have a surprise news coming in there on the 21st, probably. That's a communication coming in unexpectedly, and it is between your 9th and 11th house. So that could be from some friends that maybe live out of state or out of country. Something exciting you could hear then. And at the same time, I see how it's going to be leading you just over those next couple of days from you get that unexpected surprise. You may yourself start acting on something related to it. It could be unrelated as well as a separate situation, but it could also be related to that. Yes, Jupiter, I did say I'd get back to that, which is in your first house, that abundance. You will see that turn around there on the 30th, right between 29th and 30th. And when Jupiter goes direct, this is when you're going to feel the direct impact on yourself too. So that is just there towards the last couple of days, but you will see it next month and onwards, how you're going to get up and go and really have all the good forces and spirits working with you and for you. And so I wish you well, and be sure to subscribe so you can get your next monthly horoscopes. Bye for now.